I wanna dance by water beneath the Mexican sky, drink some margaritas by swinging blue lights, listen to the mariachi play at midnight. Are you with me? Are you with me?
The good news is quite short, okay? So we spent some time talking about the theory of the block. I have a couple of videos as well, because for me it's good to see things rather than just hear the words. So we have a video from David Lee, who is in the American national team, and then a video by Glenn Hogue, who's the Canadian national team coach. So again, I go for North America, but for you guys, Eastern European, you guys in the Balkans, very good blocking school. This perhaps the same, perhaps slightly different. But the most important thing for me is the main objective of the block is to stop the attack, the first and most important thing. I guess it's important to try and get into the mind of the young players that it's an aggressive action, it's an attacking action rather than a defensive action. If you go defensive in the block, it's going to be very neutral, very this way. When you see good blockers, they're very aggressive in attack and take the space from the attacker on the other side of the net. So for me, it's a chance to stop the attack, but as an attacking aggressive action rather than necessarily a defensive action. So this is something. The next part is the chance to allow the defense to take the position. And I think it's a chance, because if the blocking is not set and the arms move, then the defense has no chance. I watched the national team last night, and every time the block gets it wrong position, wrong timing, easy kill. So it's just a chance. So just talking very simple about the technique, we have to think about the body position and where we have the hands, how we organize the body. For example, some people stand with the hands low. This is incorrect because of the time it takes to try and get the hands above, especially if you're a small blocker, it takes a long time. So good hand position. I like to think that the hands are in front, okay, but a bit like serve reception, everything stays in front, okay? I'm not here, shoulders in front of hips, knees bent, good base for the feet. One thing that I see is if the pass is not so good, okay, I think from here you can drop the hands to get ready to go, because again we're trying to find ways to save time and maximize the opportunity you have to get to the attacker. Okay, so if we start here and I have the translation, you talk about the screen with the referees, yeah? When on the serve, did I use the right word? Yes. When the block line up and they form a screen, yes. So here, 2 meters plus, big people, and then sometimes with the Russians, they have the 2 defenders as well. Okay, so very big screen. So you want to be big, but as soon as the pass is maybe not so good, because good work from the screen, good work from the server, here to be ready to go, because we don't want to move here. We do not see Usain Bolt run down the track like this, okay, so. Okay, then the next part we talk about is the jump and the organization. So for me, if we go full swing block, okay, we probably want to open so that we can swing block, but at the point of taking off, we have to rotate our body back to the center of the attack and then hands to the center of the court. Okay, so one thing I try and get the blocker to do is that you try and organize your body. Can you stand? Okay, so if you're the attacker and I come from here, I'm not opening this way, I'm trying to orientate on the attacker. So chest to chest, so I dissociate my lower body, my upper body, but I can maintain the lock on the attack here. Again, it saves time. Okay, because my body's not coming all the way round, it's already fixed on the attacker here and then the block. So how you teach, thank you, how you teach the block, how you teach the movement, you can play about with this, but for me, fundamentally, good movement, good balance, and trying to find ways to save time. Because now with the super and the fast behind, the block is under huge pressure. Okay, and with the way the middles move, the C quick, the B, I don't know if I use the right terminology, fast behind, 2 meter in front, fast. Okay, you have the super over the top of the middle, the fast behind. The block is very difficult. This is why there's a premium on good service. Yes, so. Okay, then the other thing to maybe think about is how we get to the outside. So, do we teach the block to go side step and play? Do we take a cross step and play? Or do we use a full 3-step approach to cover the distance? Some of this depends on the height of the blocker. Some of this depends on the position you start your base. Okay, so this is aspects that you need to consider when you're teaching the block. For me, when I work with the national team, I try and teach all. Okay, so some plyometric, so very fast with good hands, with good organization, all the way to full swing block, and obviously 3-man block now if we have the chance. Okay. Looking at the sort of tactical side of it, in the modern men's game in transition, a lot of players like to hit the line because it's more difficult for the defence, and obviously with the speed the block has to chase, so you get easy block out. So if hitters are trying to hit the line systematically, then we have to think tactically and how we organise. Again, if the attack can only hit the diagonal, then it's easier to change and structure the defence around this. Okay, so you have to think about the tendencies of the hitter, okay, and what the capabilities of the attacker are. So the example, again, from the national team last night, every time the block is solid, 2-man, 3-man blocking it is solid, the attack go high off hand or change the rhythm, play for block out or try to recycle the ball off the block. You never see them go hard into the middle of the block. This is suicide because the block is here. Okay, so very good organisation from the block means that the hitter has to think some tactic, okay? And as a blocker, you have to know what the capability and the tactic of the attack is. The other consideration is the quality of the pass and the quality of the setter. What the setter can do, what the setter cannot do, and that gives you much more opportunity to have successful blocks. Okay. This is funny. I start to write my thesis, my dissertation for my master's, and I'm trying to do it on blocking. So the discussion of the dissertation is what is most important. Is it space, how you organise relative to the attack, or is it time, the timing of the block? So I guess there's a good discussion to be had. Well, hopefully there's a good discussion so I can pass. But sometimes is it how you position relative to the attacker, but you see a lot of the good blockers now just take a space and then reach with the hands. Okay, so the space is less important and they play more with the time of what the attacker can do. So these are some ideas, some things that you must consider. And then the last part, I guess, is probably the most important thing, is how you use your eyes and how you get the sequence right to be able to be in the right place at the right time to be able to make the block. So if you only watch the ball, okay, so the pass, you watch the ball to the setter to the attack, you're missing a lot of information. So the way the setter sets up in terms of body position, you miss this. The way the attacker makes their approach, how they position. So you have no how the attacker takes off, what timing. You miss all this information. So it's important that you switch your vision between different things. and try not to spend too much time on one aspect. So for here, ball setter, ball hitter is very basic, but you may have to do other things in between. Okay, so. And then the last consideration, is it a good pass, is it a bad pass? Does the setter come out of the net or move towards zone 2, move towards zone 4? This is also consideration. So you see the good teams, they start to gamble and adjust their position based on what the pass does. Okay, so very, very basic, very simple, but some very key messages. And a clue, I give you one exam question for tomorrow. Okay. So, okay. Can we get the light?
Semifinals of Beijing Olympics in 2008, the Americans defeated Russian nationals. David scored last point in the he blocked Max Mikhail. Performing the rotation, one of the best middle blockers in the world.
It's a pretty simple skill. The idea is to stop your opponent from attacking the ball over the net, and then you have to block the ball. Basically, the idea is to get your hands pressed over the net as far as possible and back into the court. I'll show you a few moves. If I'm going to block a middle blocker that's coming at me, I'm going to load my legs, jump, and press over the net. The idea is to get the hand over the net for as long as possible. If I'm blocking someone coming from position 4, I'm going to make a move called a 3-step crossover, where I go, start with my right foot leading. I'm going to go right, left, right, come here, jump, and over. When I'm blocking here, I want to have my hands push back into position 6 or back into the middle of the court. If my hands are facing this way, the chances are the ball is going to go out of bounds. If they're facing this way, it's going to go back into the court for a kill, hopefully. A lot of blocking comes down to it's called read blocking, where it's set up by you reading the setter and being able to time. Say the setter is going to step to position 4, I have to make the read and go that direction. After that's done, the rest of it is pretty simple. It goes to the footwork again, left, right, left, right, or if you're jumping with the middle to commit. But the game is called read blocking for a reason, and that is you must read the situation and then react to it. It's the exact same move going to the left, but with different footwork. So I'm going to go left, plant, over. Same thing, hands pressed back into the court, so the ball goes back that way.
Jump is an important part of the game on the block. The height of jump is an important but not the main component.
It does help if you jump higher with blocking, but the main importance to the jump is the timing of the jump. So most of the time when the hitter is going to attack the ball. So when the hitter is jumping, I must in turn jump with him and then time when he's going to attack. But to your question is how do you jump higher? That's going to take many years of plyometric training. We'd have to go into the gym if you want to see that. Quick demonstration of the front squat. It's important that you go down very slow.
Like all professional athletes, volleyball players are also injured, and if the broken fingers are not serious injuries, the injuries of the knee can take the player out of the game for a long time.
I think anytime you're taking multiple jumps, there's going to be chronic damage done to tendons and cartilage. That's especially true for volleyball players. But I think as long as you have a good strength program, there's enough rest in between your trainings, and you can basically play pain-free. It's one of my favorites, especially when I'm having a lot of pain, because my problem is chronic quad tendonitis, which is something most volleyball players deal with. Other than that, blocking is pretty simple. It's a skill that's not easy to do, but if done correctly, there's a lot of real points that can be made, and it can increase your chance of victory.
Okay, so hopefully he repeats some of my points. Okay, I think he does, so good job. So for him, he says it 3 or 4 times that blocking is very simple, but you see how organised and how disciplined all of the players from Zenit are, the speed of the movement, the organisation. And Ibrahim talks yesterday about the different muscle groups, the good control of the core and the legs so that they're not flying into the net or flying into each other becomes very important. So this video here is, I like it a lot. It puts in a game-like situation and progressive practice how they can work for the blocking. Again, it's 5 minutes, but I think it's worth seeing. So.
Hi, I'm Ibrahim, head coach of Team Canada Men's Volleyball. We will take you today through a blocking progression from a simple read blocking situation to a more complex read blocking situation. So basically the progression starts with what we call a simple read. So what we want to do is improve the capacity of our middle guard blockers to read just the simple direction of the set and go from that position to either their defensive position or go blocking. The purpose of the drill is simple. It's just we send the ball over to our libero or passer who passes to the setter. The setter will set in a direction and usually pass the players that are on the box. So the sequence is basically, the base sequence we want for a blocker is ball, setter, ball, hitter. So in this case, Rudy has to go into the right direction, wherever TJ will be setting. And then after he's read the direction, he needs to focus on the hitter. So the setter will set past these guys, somebody will just receive the ball over there, and then the player on the box will just hit to the middle court, and Rudy has to intervene in that case. Okay, once we've worked individually with our guys, we can add 2 to 3 blockers. The sequence basically is the same. TJ will set in either direction. Okay, players have to make the basic read, go to that direction, close the block. When it's a fast set, okay, we want a 2-man block. Rarely can we go for a 3-man block on a fast set. But if the ball is off the net, okay, then a high ball situation, then we want a 3-blocker situation. Okay, so I can demonstrate quickly. Send the ball over to the barrel. TJ will choose, and the players will move and then go. In the case, so here we can demonstrate with if Blair can keep the ball and create a situation where it's a high ball, and then the blockers will respond accordingly. So you can work on your footwork, synchronize all blockers together so that you don't have any gaps in between the blocks and the timing, and etc., etc., etc. We can bring different variety to the exercise. We can evolve slowly to adding more segments. Right now we're just going front and back. Now we're going to add a pipe, okay, so that both movements, especially to the outside blockers, will be, some movements are outside, some movements are back inside. So either to help out or to try to block the pipe on the read. So this again is a simple read. So I'll ask TJ to set either the pipe or the outside, okay, and the players need to respond accordingly. from a more controlled to semi-controlled situation will evolve to a random situation. What we'll do often is just go back to front set, back set, but with real hitters, good sets, and play out, and then slowly add a pipe, and then slowly go to a full-out offense. Then the reading becomes more complex. The important thing is to focus on your blockers' eyes and what they're watching, on their speed of release. You know, sometimes they're releasing the wrong way, so you got to remind them to be loaded and to go into the right direction. So you want that basic reason. In conclusion, this is a progression that we use quite a bit here. You can create your own progression. Just remember the basics of the skill that you want to work when you create that progression.
Okay, so obviously these two videos are professional players and national team. So again, you can have the question, is this suitable for young children? I don't see why not. Okay, the fundamentals are the fundamentals. I have also seen that some teams, they make the net very low, so maybe 1m80, 1m90, and you don't have to jump. So again, David Lee talks about the knee problems. So you can do all the movement and get the arm movement without actually jumping, which maybe protects some of the younger players. And you can get through lots of repetition, good movement, good synchronization, without actually doing all the loads. Okay, one thing I liked from Glenn Hoag's video is that it goes from very closed practice, very simple, and it's controlled, where there is not very much decision making, so you can focus on the movement, the quality of movement and timing before it goes into the open situation with the game at the end, to the game-like situation. So good practice management, good progression, so you spend a lot of time getting the fundamentals, the movements, and the relationship with the other blockers. So this is good. I watched a practice last night. We talked about this with the national team. Very similar, but again, when it was with the middle blocker was very disciplined. He doesn't try and block the line and try and close everything. He plays his position. So he maybe leaves 1 meter from the sideline and organises. So it was nice to see, and it was a good similarity for the stuff that goes on. So we talk about the top end. So this slide, I think, is basic and gives some progression for younger beginner players, just so as you have the full picture, I hope. It's been a while. So this is from my FIVB course I do some years ago. But So the first example, the blocker starts from the attack line, coach gives a signal, then the blockers move to the net and stop in the ready position. Second coach's signal is the block jump. So I guess it's very simplistic. This is the coach, yes. So they start back, they move forward, reorganise and then block. So it's just trying to get this idea that you can move, stop, reorganise and block without flying into the net. And then these are some progressions. So two lines, they move to the outside with cross step or step, cross step. Again, if you want these, I can share, it's not a problem. Situation 3, the ball is travelling with the passer to the setter and targets. On the other side, the blockers, mainly middle, must follow the ball and jump in the right place. So at this stage there's no attack. Okay. And then the one below is basically, you've probably done it as young players, you start on one side, you make blocking footwork and you go across the width of the net and then come back the other way. So lots of repetition. Okay, so this one is you mirror, so both sides of the net go at the same time. You can make it competitive, who's the highest, who can push the other person over. Again, very simple. And then again, the person holds the ball on the net and the blocker tries to penetrate across and play the ball. So. The problem I have with some of this is I talked earlier in the week about wanting it to be game-like. This perhaps is not. And again, this is the American philosophy. They probably don't spend too much time in this. But as European volleyball players where we have good technical model, then perhaps you spend more time in this. But this is a philosophical debate, I guess. Again, the slight problem I have with this is the attacker is feeding the ball, almost like jump serve. It's very rare that this happens in the game of volleyball, that it comes in a straight line. So it's perhaps slightly artificial, but I guess it gives some more control in what they do. Okay, and then toss over the net. Okay, so this one here is the feeder is behind the blocker, the ball gets tossed, they attack. So this time you're trying to position on the attacker. So maybe for overpass, yeah. So the bottom one, they start wide and pinch in. You can do this in and out. So I don't go through all of these. So this starts to be a bit more game-like. So it's good. Okay, so. Again, if you want these, if you haven't taken a photograph, I can share it, it's not a problem. So, we see the full spectrum from very basic to good international players, but all of the practices, all of the video, good organisation, good footwork, and then it comes down to me, good position and timing that you can attack the spiker. Okay, you're not being neutral or defensive in what you're doing, unless you're 170 and just maybe hand block, but aggression in the block. Okay. Does anyone want to add some ideas, their own blocking philosophy, their own blocking ideas that they have when working with their own teams? For middle blockers especially, it'd be good to hear what you do. So.
It's better to explain in the gym, I think.
I agree. This is difficult.
It's easier.
we spent some time then this afternoon.
We work with the go,
Yeah, we can spend 20 minutes. No problem. Okay, so again, I can share the stuff. YouTube becomes very good resource. As I say, these videos I use with my teams and try and get the concepts across. So when I was young, we had no access to stuff like this, so it's good progression for the sport. Okay, thank you.